Good
Hello,
morning.
everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's TLD cast, Thursday, August 1st. Today with us, I have Dr. Robin Sargent, and it's so weird. I just said this a couple seconds ago while we were setting up. It's so weird for me to call her doctor, so I'm just going to call her Robin.
Yeah,
Robin's a dear friend of mine. And an excellent cohort in instructional design, and I love knowing her in the field, and I wanted to introduce her to you all here. And so let's go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us, everybody, and please pop in any questions if you have any down below to ask her if you've heard of her before, or during the conversation if you have anything to add in, please let us know. So Robin, good morning.
Good morning.
And tell us a little bit about yourself in instructional design. How did you fall into this field, like so many of us?
Well, like all the way back, or like just like the transition?
Give us a small background of how you started in. I know for myself, when I introduced myself, I said, I was in teaching first, and then I eventually segued into instructional design. A lot of folks like to hear what the beginnings are and then the transition in. So go ahead, wherever you're comfortable.
Well, I actually started, it was like a whole nother lifetime ago, and I actually got my first degree was a bachelor's in Bible and theology. And then and I was like, well, what am I going to do with this degree? Because I had a resume with a bachelor's degree in Bible and theology. I did not go to be a pastor. I went for just kind of an interest in religion. And then by the time I was done, I was a little bit over it. And I was like, well, now I got to get a job. And everybody saw my resume and they're like, Bible and theology. They probably just was like, oh, what's that? And then threw it away. And so the only job I could get was working, selling tile. So all my professors, I worked for them as teachers assistants at the universities. They're like, come on, background, just get another degree, just hang out to figure out what you're going to do. So I got another degree. A master's degree in Bible and theology and, all those biblical languages and things like that.
Wow.
And then I was like, man, now I have another worthless degree. What the heck? And so the only job I could get after the second worthless degree, that was really a real job besides waiting tables, was as a part-time librarian at a university in the adult studies program. And then one day I was at the copy machine and the dean came over to me. I was making copies for the students. And she said, hey, do you know anybody who has a master's degree that wants to be an academic advisor? And I was like, oh, yes. Oh, that's me. I want to do that. And so I went through the interview and I got that. And I moved up to the assistant dean. And they started doing their very first online program for students. And so they had to build out all the curriculum for online. They had to set up the LMS, which was Moodle. And I don't know, some of you may be familiar with higher education, but a lot of people that work in higher education are Luddites. They are scared of anything like technology and they don't like it. And so everybody came to me to set, because I've always liked technology. So they came to me to set up the LMS and to create curriculum and to load the course. And then I was the first, advisor for the students who were the first ones in the program. And I was like, this is awesome. The graphics part and the course design part. And then after that, I just remade my whole self to go and land a corporate job. Because if you know about higher education, you also don't make any money. So it's I can combine money and passion. And I got an MBA while I was there too.
Nice. Oh my God. So you're just stacking on the degree. So then you get your MBA. And then what led you to kind of get into instructional design? Where was that turning point to say, I really like this and I like what I'm doing and I'm just going to go ahead and put myself in this field?
Well, I was an adjunct faculty member at Shorter University in addition to being assistant dean. And then, like I said, I was their online program manager. So I was helping them launch their brand new associates program online and running that. And every time I would do a presentation in front of the class for the students, or when I was in the MBA program, every time I do a presentation, they'd be like, is this what you do? Do you have a computer science degree? Do you have a graphic design degree? They were just always, because I would make things move and make them interactive and whatever. And I was like, no, but they're like, you should do this for a living. Wow. And then of course I was doing the online thing. And then I found out oh, instructional design is a thing.
It's a
And then
thing.
I found out you can do it in corporate, and I was like, oh, that's it. I'm going to do it. And so it took me about 9 months. I did all the things to become an instructional designer. I made a portfolio. I made a blog. I redid my LinkedIn. I did slide shares. I did like scoop-its and all kinds of things just to like match my name with instructional designer when you Googled it.
Wow. Yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful. I love how you did that and how you kind of figured those things out. And we have, a lot of new instructional designers who are still figuring those things out of what do I do to make a name for myself, or what are the parts and pieces to get my name out there so that more people can know about me too. And so you did your LinkedIn. Did you have a website at that time? You said you had a blog. Oh,
I had
nice.
a blog, I had a portfolio. I like anything that you could put your name on and create like a profile.
Yes.
And link it to your name. I did it. It was a little bananas. It was a little
So how did you, did it come about organically for you to kind of go from one to the next, or were you hearing from other folks in the field, or like, how did you get those ideas of being able to go from one to the next to brand yourself?
So, you know how when you start researching a thing and then it just branches off and you research like all the things that are connected.
Okay.
So first I started branching like career change, and then it became all about personal branding. And then it became more about the, the intersection between personal branding and career change.
Okay.
And then of course, instructional design. And so it was
And
all those
light bulbs start popping and stuff like that. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So say, very similar with me and perhaps a lot of other instructional designers too, kind of just figuring things out along the way. I think that's pretty typical for folks in our field to develop things, because we don't see a lot of stuff out there, and we don't have a lot of people who know what we do, still have no idea what we do. Speaking of back in the day, they really had no idea. We didn't know, and now we know, except they don't know. I think that's kind of where we're at presently. But that's really interesting to know. It's always great to figure out the thought process behind it and stuff like that. So what kinds of corporate training have you worked on over the years?
Well, I worked on just, a couple of specific ones in full-time roles, but I've always been a side hustler. I guess we call them a freelancer on the side. And so that has allowed me to work on several, like the whole range of corporate training. So, software, compliance courses. I've done courses on fiber installation, customer service. I've written university curriculum, but you asked me about corporate. I've done things for the CDC, so some of the lab courses, some medical courses, consulting, business courses for like Boston Consulting Group. And it just kind of, the list is large, but it's always because I've always taken on other projects besides what I did in my full-time role. And my full-time role was a software company it was IBM. It's now an IBM company. And then CBON, which is a telecommunications company. So you can imagine all the different types of training that's involved in there. We actually had a university at that one, CBON University. And then the next one after that I was the director. And so that was for a recruiting firm.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. So always keep it active. And so then how are you hearing about some of these possibilities that you can do on top of what you were already doing, it seems like? So are you hearing about announcements and going after that? Or did you find that people are starting to come to you based on the branding that you had posted out there?
It was a combo. I think it's always a combo, right? The more you move and take action and, have that intent to take on side projects, that's always going to be like your best asset. And then after that, you're talking to people and you are making networks and connections, and you let them know that you do that on the side. And so it's definitely a combination of both, but the best projects I've had have not been because I went and found them on Upwork. Those are actually the worst projects I've ever had. I
have a question about Upwork. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
with Upwork. No, just I mean, whatever. Other people might enjoy their experience.
It's great to start with, I would say. I love Upwork. It gives you opportunities there, but please don't try to make a career out of it. I'm not sure if anybody can, and if anybody can, please let us know. I would love to have you on here to discuss that experience and see if you were recompensed well. I think that's always been my issue with Upwork. They'll load it up on you, but they won't load up the pay on you at the same time. But anyway, so moving on. So then I got to learn about you about a year and a half ago when you started working on your IDOL courses. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, how did you what was your thought process on starting that up, and why did you start IDOL courses, and what are you doing with it, I guess?
So I guess I went for the MBA because I always knew I wanted to own a business.
Okay.
I never knew what that business was going to be, but I knew even going into it, like once I get the idea, then I'm gonna own a business. And I just always wanted that thing, that I wanted to start a business with. And so that's also why I've always had the side work. I've always been a freelancer on the side in addition. And so I was just building up like my network and my clientele. And then I started officially as instructional in 2012. And then it was in 2014 I got my director position. And it was in 2017 that I was pregnant with my third and final boy. And I was like, you know what? I want to make the transition to full-time business owner of IDOL courses by the end of my maternity leave. Mm-hmm. And it just so happened that I got a large client that wanted to redo his entire program that he sells online to other corporations. Because he had his training program was basically webinars, webinars, and that's what he sold. And so he wanted to redo it. And so that was a ramp in addition to my other side clients that I had that allowed me to transition out of maternity leave and quit my job and start IDOL courses full time. And so, I've learned a lot. When people say, you can go get an MBA, it's the same with instructional design. Like there's a difference between getting education and being a practitioner or an owner. Yes. And that has certainly been the case. So, I mean, I've learned a lot. I started January 2018 and now we're like in the middle. So I've only been official for a year and a half.
Wow.
I've done a lot of pivoting,
ups and downs and backwards and forwards and stuff like that. So whoa! Oh, really? So tell me about that. Tell us about that, because I know with me too, it's like I'll tackle on a new type of project or a new type of branding experience that I haven't tried before, and it can either go north and be smooth and flowy, and we love it and it's fruitful. But then you have those experiences that kick you when you were least expecting it, and things go south, and then you have to dig yourself back up again and try and get back on top. So what was that? What were some of the either, I guess, the learning curves for you, or the challenges that you had to face, and how did you see yourself getting through that? How did you know that if you just keep going on with whatever you're creating, that it's going to be a fruitful idea? Do you know that it's going to be a fruitful idea? Do you know that there's a market out there for folks wanting to take IDOL courses and stuff like that? How did you figure those pieces out?
Okay, well, there were a lot of questions in there.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, so I'll just kind of go through a little bit of how I pivoted and why I pivoted to kind of start the Become an IDOL Facebook group and kind of more transition to helping fellow instructional designers. So I had that large client plus a few other ones. And I thought, and I misunderstood the scope of the project. And I thought that he said, like, I'm going to build 98 courses or something like crazy like that. That's what I thought. But or 98 lessons or whatever. But what he had was 98 learning assets, but some of them were things that weren't going to change. And so here I am creating and like busting through. I like hired freelancers and just was like, psh, psh, psh. I did really good my first year as far as income goes. But by August, he goes, okay, well, this is our last course. And I was like, what? I thought this was like a 3-year project. I hadn't done any marketing. I didn't fill my pipeline. I wasn't, actively seeking out new clients.
Yeah.
And I immediately, after that phone call, had to fire all my freelancers and apologize to them because I needed to build that last course by myself.
Yeah.
Because I needed to buy myself time to go and market and get new clients and all that other kind of. So, note to you, if you want to be a freelancer, please never stop filling up your pipeline. Things can cancel, things can get changed, things cannot come through at any moment. Please always be working magic. But the other thing is, like, why did I know to keep going? Well, I'm kind of one of those, I don't know, maybe call it wabi-sabi, maybe call it woo-woo, but I am obsessed with feeling gratitude for something that I don't see. So I feel gratitude that I know that every day that I put in my best work, that it will deliver an outcome that I want, and more importantly that I need. And I see, idle courses giving value to people, and that's where you become rewarded. And the more value you give, and the more sharing that you do, and the more of your best efforts that you put into things, it always just kind of adds up and builds up and comes right back to you, even though it looks so dark. And so that's why I just kept having faith. I was like, okay, I got to pivot. And I've been on this client roller coaster, and now I got to market myself. And the more I marketed myself, which I thought I was marketing myself to clients, it ended up being that I was getting more instructional designers in my network, which I love. IDLEs. I love instructional designers, online learning developers. That's what IDLE means. And so they were the ones that kept coming in my market, even though I kept trying to reach out to like HR managers and other CEOs and like, let me build your training. But my network just kept growing into instructional designers. And I just found that there was I've helped people become instructional designers before, kind of in a non-formal way. And it just, I was like, you know what? I want to build courses for myself, instead of necessarily always doing it for clients. And so that was kind of my first idea, was to build a program for people who want to become an IDLE. And then I've also gone on to build other programs to sell for IDLE courses, because the client game is like this. You'll like get a contract, and then you'll work. Maybe you get your deposit up front, but then you wait 30, 60, 90 days for another invoice to come in. And
I know it can get rough in the waters while you're waiting. Did you ever have so when you're talking with clients, and there's a time period for the payment, is there also a time period where you get your client, they're thinking about a training, they're probably in the first beginning parts, and then they somehow, it's happened to me, so I don't know if it's happened to anybody else, they kind of go back out for a little bit because they haven't gotten all their other things together on their side, and then they come back like 3 or 6 months later and like, hey, we're ready now, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm on a different project at this point. So I guess it's something to be aware about.
That happens all the time. That happens all the time. Well, I mean, it's happening right now in my very current present state. I talked to a company like 3 weeks ago, but they have tasks to do because they don't know what they don't know until they talk to you. And then they realize they got to get their ducks in a row. Like, okay, I can create training for you. All right. but what do you need? Like, have you talked to the other stakeholders in your company? Do you know? And I was like, you can pay me to come in and do analysis for you, or you can go gather your things together and then we can weed through that. So like, oh, okay, well, we'll just go ahead and cut that cost and go.
Yeah, let's do that ourselves and start talking with some people and stuff. Yeah. I mean, I always hear that clients don't know as much as we do about training and about the process of training. Do you find that to be true with you when you're talking to clients? I mean, I'm sure like they come in with one understanding that you're just going to take it and then run with it. And then they come out with the understanding, oh, they have to do some stuff too. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, setting expectations, it's funny, when I started, I had like this boilerplate statement of work or project template, and that thing has grown after every client experience. I keep adding to like the rules and like the stipulations and how timelines will change if you do not respond. And if you try to make changes after I've already done the voiceover, and if you try to make changes after the voiceover and the animations are done, you will pay this fee and there will be this penalty. And if you do not pay me within this amount of time, it just keeps getting.
I think we just got our next discussion topic. We're going to have to bring you back for that, of how to curate a statement of purpose, because, oh my gosh, yes, I know you can go into contract hell, essentially. I thought I was gonna say something different, but no, that's really what it is. And so I don't want to sugarcoat it. So that's my truth to our instructional designers here. It is a winding road, and so I would love to bring you back to discuss that. And we could go on forever and ever and ever. Yeah. If you have any fun things that you've put in your statements of purpose, please put that in, or the weirdest things that you've seen that clients have put in their contracts to you. It'll be just surprising to see some of the things that folks put in there to try and cover themselves. But moving on. So you get around instructional designers and you realize that you're going to try to make courses for them and then develop this whole academy. And so what kind of, how did that develop? How did that form? What kind of courses did you create, and tell us about your work with the academy?
So the academy has just kind of been like my passion project. I've always kept the client projects, and then I built another program that's called Vital Courses, and it's a program that I sell to veterinarian clinics. But in the background, I have just wanted to serve people who want to break into the field, because I remember all the things that I did. I remember all the things, like, and you can go and the thing is, you can go and you can find out a lot of information for free. Like, you can find tons of YouTube videos. You can find, articles. You can, all the things are online and they're available. You can go and you can get your master's degree. I got a PhD in it. Like, you can go and do all those things. But what you find is that there's a difference between learning these things and then putting it into deliberate practice. And I'm obsessed with that term, deliberate practice, because deliberate practice means, like, not only are you practicing instructional design, but you are getting feedback on what you are creating and what you are delivering. And that really was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be the bridge and to help people cross over from knowing a thing and understanding like theories and being a practitioner in the field. Because a lot of people, even if they go to get their master's degree and they build a portfolio in school, it's baby stuff. It doesn't look professional. It does not look like what hiring managers are looking for. It's like missing some of, just kind of the polish that you need to land those jobs. And so I just wanted to be a person that could be there to give feedback. And you can't really be around and available for people to give feedback unless there's some kind of reciprocation, right? Like reciprocity.
Right.
And so, of course, the way that works and is you pay me and I will be able to devote that time to you. Otherwise, I got to go chase client projects.
And stuff. Yeah, interesting. Oh no, I find it. I think so. So you're able to give the feedback and give some experience that instructional designers can actually have and put in their portfolio and learn how to create their portfolio. Because those little elements, for some reason, I do. People have known me for being a voice in the field about that. Yes, exactly. You come out with your theory, you come out with your master's degree or your PhD or whatnot in instructional design these days, whereas back in the old days, folks didn't have those options, and we were just kind of segueing in, most of us, and then you have no experience in the field, and you have no, I would say, quality client presentable pieces that they're going to want for your next project, essentially, because it didn't matter even what you did in those small things that you've done over time, but it's not going to get you to where you need to be, unfortunately, and stuff. And so I really like the fact that you're helping out with instructional designers and helping them build those pieces and bridge those little gaps and stuff. So how many students do you have for a typical course, and like how many courses do you offer?
Okay, so can I just like rewind just a second to the other question too, because I also want to tell you a little bit about how I built the academy.
Yes.
And I think this will kind of answer this question too. So I kept thinking about like building the academy, and I had like so many outlines, as you can imagine, because you guys are all idols. And so I had so many different outlines about like all the things instructional design, like take it from here all the way down here, and specifically corporate instructional design. And I kept looking at that outline, and it was like 52 lessons. And I was like, that's nuts. I mean, I could build all that, but that would take me years. But like what we really need to know is where are people coming from? I don't even know who's going to come into the academy. I don't even know who's going to want mentorship and experience opportunities from IELTS courses. And I don't know who these learners are. And so what I did was I like slapped myself in the face, not really. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to build the one thing that I know that everyone's going to need to know. And I'm going to build it in a way that teaches them how to create courses and builds their portfolio at the same time. And so I built out one 12-lesson course, which is how to build your online portfolio from scratch, even if you haven't built a course before, and even if you've never built a website. So I built that, and then I just launched IELTS Courses Academy at the end of June, the beginning of July. So this is my first round. So these are my founding members, and I'm finding out from them what they want. So from there, they've told me that they want to know how to do interviews right away. So our first training lesson was on interviews. I do group weekly coaching calls. We've done project management. We've done, because this is only our fourth week, and we've done an articulate storyline. Like I said, well, where are you guys in articulate storyline? And all of them have logged in, and played around with it. They're kind of familiar. So we did, I had a guest speaker come in, and she showed them how to build a game. And so, of course, if you learn how to build a game, then you learn about triggers and conditions and variables and all that kind of stuff. And then I just keep adding resources as I see things come up. Like, for instance, people were showing me their resumes, and I was like, I love you. Your resumes are hideous. Transfer your content to these templates that I've bought you.
Yes.
And then send it back to me, and I'll give you feedback. And so it's been wonderful. I mean, like, because they're in there and they are telling me how to build the academy and I've got 25 students in there. 2 are on scholarship, another 6 of them came in at the pre-sale, and then the rest came in during like the official launch or whatever. And some of them have never had any experience in instructional design besides creating curriculum for a classroom. And I have one student in there who just wanted to come in to support the academy, and she has over 20 years experience in instructional design. She's got more than me.
Wow.
And she just wanted to come in and be a part. She's never built a portfolio. She's always worked for government, and she just comes. She likes the idea, and so she just wants.
Yeah, I know.
And it's awesome to have her in there because I get to get feedback inside the academy from another professional who's on my level. She even said, like, as she's been going in, she just like keeps shaking her head, like, yes, so that she's like really happy to be a part of the whole experience. So it's been awesome. I mean, really incredible. I mean, I cannot believe how many of them have just like, I'm just going on and on. I need to pause, but like they've like built their
I'm loving this, so it's fine.
They built their portfolios already. They're already getting interviews. I just heard from one that she's already been given a job offer, and she was a teacher.
Wow.
At a very, I don't know if I'm allowed to tell what company it is, but it's a Fortune 50.
Oh, nice. Very nice. I was gonna say, like, what are folks saying, like, on the like your feedback or your where are folks going after they're done with IDLE? Like, are they coming back and telling you great things about it and stuff? I'm sure. Yeah.
I asked. So I have a Facebook group, of course.
Oh, yes.
Members.
Yes. Oh, nice. Wonderful. Yeah. I'll add that link in here, please. If anybody's out there wants to know more about stuff here, I've got IDLE jobs posted here, and I myself am on there as well.
I got IDLE jobs and become an IDLE.
And become an IDLE. I don't think I have that link, but if you want to put that. Oh, wait. I got it. Yes, I do. Look at that. I was prepared. Oh, my goodness. All right. There we go.
Okay.
That one. We've got this one. This will keep some people busy a little bit.
Okay. I wish I would have had it queued up. Look at me. I'm just like stalling here.
Oh, no worries.
Here it is. I found it.
Go for it.
Panic, and then I found it.
So let's go for it.
Okay, so I said, hey, I'm gonna be on the TLD cast.
Yes.
And they asked me what the feedback is, but they're not done yet. They're getting some results. Obviously, somebody already has a job offer, and they're getting interviews. Okay. But I was like, what do I say is the actual feedback?
But that's actually
can I read? So I asked them, and they told me
that is good. Yeah.
All right. So here we go. I have so much to say. I have enjoyed the insightful group calls on various topics. The modules are filled with short video lessons that I can easily squeeze 1 or 2 into my day when I'm on short time. The courses are tailored to my professional goals of advancing in the world of instructional design. Robin Sargent quickly responds to questions or requests for feedback. Having a group of like-minded people with whom to network is a big bonus. And then one said, the IDLE courses Academy has helped me to understand the ins and outs of becoming an instructional designer with course materials that are very detailed, well thought out and easy to follow. Insight into different tools for the website and portfolio creation have provided me with a clear advantage as I pursue a change in my career. I feel like Robin Sargent has a vested interest in seeing me successful, and I appreciate the valuable input and feedback she has given me in my projects. I would highly recommend this course to anyone pursuing a change in career in instructional design. And then it goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on.
Very cool. Very cool. Congratulations. I know. They seem happy. So here's one of the things that I wanted you to bring you on to TLDC is, one, we always have instructional designers who are always trying to see how to get more jobs, more positioning, brand themselves, market themselves, get portfolio things, all of those things in the build of their careers and to continue in their careers. And a lot of folks are always stuck on those things. How do I get more experience? How do I build my portfolio? How do I make sure that what I'm doing is right? And it's always great to talk to our cohort right here, other instructional designers, to give you that feedback, to give you all of that information. And I love it here because this is a place of camaraderie and stuff like that. And Lewis has mentioned that as well over time and space. And I love that about this place. And I felt that you are also a person that is very communal in a way, and very open and sharing and giving, and very, very insightful to give a real, not just theoretical, not just theory and models and Addie and Sam, and it's actually going beyond those pieces to get real, invaluable information on how to do this job, because there is a lot going on in there. There are SME interviews, there's developing, there's design, there's hiccups, there's and how do you and troubleshooting and things like that. And you've always been one of those folks that is just like, if I can give you the answer, I will try. I mean, and why not? Because you're not going to be the only instructional designer in the entire world, which there are those instructional designers who feel that they're the only ones in the entire world.
No, that's not real.
Or not, but some of them are a little bit more apprehensive to share, or they don't share, or whatnot. But here it's, you know, I just think it's beneficial both ways to share. And so I thank you for that. And I thank you for creating this. And I honestly haven't seen, if anybody out there has seen anything like what Dr. Sargent has built, please let me know, because I have not seen that yet. And I really thank you for creating something that after, I guess, after you get your degree in theory, you can maybe go to Robin now and get the practical experience.
I'd love to have you.
If you need it, if you're not getting this in your job, it's a great avenue for some folks. And so I just wanted to take a minute to thank you for that. So other questions here. I know somebody had asked a question. Kenesha's asking a question. Do you give storyline or captivate, I guess, lessons?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you do both?
Storyline. I don't mess with Captivate, but I have people who build and Captivate. They come to me because I do one-on-one calls, like a couple of them.
Okay.
I give away like 2 a person, but I didn't know how many people were going to come in, so I couldn't like promise like all these one-on-one calls because they're time intensive. But if they have if they get stuck in Captivate, then they get on a call with me and I like show them how to fix it, or they tell me what the problem is, and then I'll make a tutorial from there. So like I said, it's kind of all just in time, but the majority of the training is an articulate storyline. And I mean, the thing is, and I have been loading them up there. I've got about 6 specifically for instructional design. I give away some of my templates. I give away style guides. I give away the story, like a storyboard thing, and all those other kind of assets you'd want to build up your e-learning course. But there's so many resources out there to learn articulate storyline for free. I feel like, does a better job, but maybe not. And so I'm just building it as I have time. Every time I get like an extra 15 minutes, I'll go and do something in storyline, record it, and just throw it up there. I mean, it's not super fancy, but because, I just want to create content right now. And part of the experience opportunities, besides like that they can work for clients that come in to idle courses, is that especially because they're founding members, they can get experience improving the academy, and they get paid to help me improve the academy too.
Nice. Very nice. So an avenue for instructional designers to have a little bit of a side hustle of their own if they need one. And then, so what other kinds of projects, because I know you have side hustle after side hustle, but are there any other side hustles that you've got going on that you'd like to take a minute to discuss? Please go ahead. Share with us.
You mean like clients that I'm working on, or just kind of projects, or?
Yeah, you've got the courses, and then the Facebook groups. So you've got how many different Facebook groups? I know you've got the idle jobs, and tell us just a little bit about that. Why you have the idle jobs in there? I guess.
Okay, so in August of last year, I started the Become an Idle for Facebook group for newbies and veterans to like get together and help each other out, and just to like help anybody who had questions. And I've noticed that some of the other groups, that if you're a newbie and you ask these basic fundamental questions like how do you break into this field, how do you do whatever, you kind of get beat up a little bit sometimes in those posts. And so it's just a safe place for newbies to come and ask whatever silly question that they have. But I've also built out units to help them just to kind of answer some of the more common questions. And then I noticed that a lot of people were posting jobs in the Become an Idol Facebook group. And I was like, I don't really want to clutter this group with job postings. And so I just created another group that was connected to Become an Idol, and that is Instructional Design Jobs. But I just let anybody in there, because what I found is like that's just another way for the newbies to talk to more of the veterans and to find out about and apply for jobs. And you really, because I think it's over 1,000 instructional designers in both groups, especially in the job boards, you'll find positions you won't find on an Indeed. I've gotten a few clients myself through there. And so were you the one who gave me Brooks Group?
I think so. The one in Georgia. Yeah.
They're in North Carolina. So
North Carolina,
I actually got a client through, because Ruby posted. She posted it on the IO job board, and then I just called them and said, "I think you're looking for me." Like, no joking.
Literally. Well, yes. Well, when they mentioned what they were looking for, and then I'm thinking about like, who do I know that can do this? And I'm like, okay, Robin can do this hands down. So let me just pass that one on to her. So that went off beautifully. So I'm glad for that. And yes, if you are looking for another project or whatnot, I would totally suggest you check out both groups. They're getting an extra group on your Facebook can't hurt. But Idle Jobs especially is my favorite one. I post jobs up on there that I hear about that folks are coming to me for. Either they've heard about me or I've applied for something and it just doesn't quite work out for me, but I don't mind passing it on for someone else. Or, a lot of times if it's a Captivate thing too, I'll kind of say, I like doing storylines, so I don't want to do this Captivate job, but I'll pass it on to somebody else if somebody else is willing to take it. And the client also, I've had discussions with clients and they're very happy for me passing it on. And so I'm glad I have a place to pass it on to other designers. So we should probably start charging commission for that. That would be awesome. No, but
I've thought about the funny thing is my first idea for Idle courses, and now they have there's a company called Teamed, and they recruit instructional design. But my first idea before Team came along, I think I talked to the owner of Teamed, and she actually had her idea like the same time I did. So she just went ahead with hers. I built out a whole website. It's called Become an Idol or Hire an Idol. It's living on a WordPress page right now, all hidden behind whatever, not being connected. But that was my whole first idea, was to recruit instructional designers and like match them with clients. But then I just kept on getting work for myself, and then I just kept on, hiring freelancers underneath me. But it's a lot of work to kind of make any kind of commissions on recruiting people, unless you want to become like a recruiting agency, and that's like a whole nother animal.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like,
we'll have a whole other cast for that. Anyway. So then what else have you got going on in the horizon, in your next things looking forward, or what do you see yourself doing in the next few months? Where are the cogs churning, and where is it leading you?
It's proprietary. No, I'm just kidding. So what
I won't tell anybody, trust me. You can share here. We'll keep it all private, I'm sure.
Well, I hope to launch the academy and like open it up for enrollment again in November. But besides that, my company, like I said, we have Vital Courses, which is veterinary. You can go to myvitalcourses.com. It's vital.com if you want to check it out. But I want to sell that course, but I also am working with clients right now. I just got a salesperson, a full-time salesperson for idle courses, and like he's going out to like the Chamber of Commerce and getting business and whatever. But kind of the thing I'm doing right now is I'm in talks with companies that want to build out training, and I want to build courses that I sell. And so I'm talking to, for instance, like an electrician company right now, and they want us to build out kind of like their basic library for them. And I'm talking to them, well, that's a large project, but if you allow us to repurpose and sell some of your fundamental content that we develop to develop these courses tailored for you, and then white label and sell them to other electrician companies, then I can give you a huge discount. So that's kind of been my new thing, is I want to build courses that solve problems and sell them, because I like building courses my way. I don't really like being an order taker. Forgive me, but I want to build an experience. I want it to have I want to spend the time on the graphics. I want to spend the time in the immersion. I want to spend the time and really making it like just like a little space for learning. And so the way that you really get to do that is if you can fund building your own courses that you sell. And so that's kind of what my whole focus right now is, to move into different industries that have problems that can be solved with new training. Like, for instance, the real estate industry, right? They always have to up their skills and get these continuing education units. But I have a lot of real estate friends, and those CEUs they're horrible. They're just horrible. I want to redo some of those. Or, pest control even. Like, I've talked to a couple of pest control people. I'm talking to them right now. Their training is horrible. And so it's like we're kind of in a place right now where there's a lot of training can use a refresh and a redo, instead of just like these boring slides or whatever it is that we've done in the past. So that's kind of what I want to do. I want to create courses and sell them. Idle courses.
Idle courses. I love that. I love that. That's fantastic. I love that. Congratulations for the strides that you're making, and for you're helping develop the field even more so. And I think even more so than some of the other folks that I've seen recently. It really is focusing on instructional designers as your learners, and really just helping them grow. And I really appreciate that. And so I see a question from Jonathan. What are Dr. Sargent's thoughts on working out loud? What is working out loud? Let me know what this is, actually.
Okay. Right. Melissa Milloway does it phenomenally. She does a great job. I know
Melissa. Yeah.
She does a great job doing her working out louds. I'm actually thinking about putting a working out loud inside the academy, because I think there's a lot of mystery for new idols, as far as like, what does the process actually look like when you are literally building out something and going through your decision making, because you think like, there's just this finished project, like this finished product. So I think working out loud videos are an excellent idea. Can you sit through them though? I think you really have to really want to know how a specific person works on something. But then you go back to the fixing a toilet analogy on YouTube. I think it was Grandma that gave me that one, where like, you're not going to watch that video unless you really have the need.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, there are a few instances for that. Yeah, that's about it.
I think that they can be really useful, especially if you're showing something that it looks like it's just a finished product all the time, but there's some behind the scenes. And that's kind of how I do a little bit of the tutorials I have to make just in time. It's almost like I'm not writing out a script. No, I'm just like, you click here, and voila.
Exactly. I know. It's really not rocket science. Sometimes it's just clicking your hand. But yeah, I actually do go to YouTube for all sorts of things I have to do in my life, mostly cooking at this point. but it's really fun. Okay, so thank you so much. If there's any other questions that we have here, please let me know. Otherwise, I want to say thank you for your time. We have a few minutes left early. Louis, I don't know if you want to come back in to present any upcoming podcasts or things like that, or TLD casts, please let us know. Otherwise, I just had a final question for you. When is your next podcast that is going to come up, and what are you going to discuss, and how do people find you and all of that? Yeah.
Oh, good question. Okay, so I just released one this week.
Okay.
And it goes through instructional design jargon with Rachel Huddish.
Okay.
And so, I mean, I don't know. We kind of read the dictionary.
Can you type in a link of how to get to your podcast? Because I don't know
It's
if I
called
have
Become an Idol.
Okay.
Become an Idol.
So
And
you follow that, and then you'll get to the
you can find it on iTunes. You can find it on idolcourses.com. I have a podcast link, and all the episodes are embedded into the show notes. You can find it on Stitcher and Google Play and all the places.
Okay. Awesome. And then I think, is LinkedIn your best bet for folks to kind of, I know you're everywhere, but I think that's
except for Twitter.
Oh my gosh. I'm still getting onto Twitter. So everybody knows my little catchphrase for Twitter, but I won't say that.
Brain dumps, brain trash.
No, it has something to do with knit twits. But anyway, no, I love it. I love Twitter. It's great. It's wonderful. But then it's one step away from me going into Instagram. And if you ever see me on Instagram, you know I've lost it.
Come on, Instagram.
Are you good?
Yeah.
I think that's my max. I think while I'm raising my littles, I need to give them some time. So I will hold back on Instagram for right now, but please enjoy it for all
I don't enjoy it. I mean, Instagram's okay, but like that's not where my people live. There's not a lot of instructional designers. I've connected with a few from other countries on Instagram, but
okay. Which is your best social media?
LinkedIn's good, and Facebook, either one.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's been
email me. I don't care.
Go ahead. Tumblr and Snapchat. Oh my gosh, Alan. Now we're going off the. How many?
I tried some Tumblr, but I mean, I was just posting Tumblr from Instagram, and I'm like, I don't know if teenagers are my audience.
Oh my gosh. I would say how many social handles does Alan have? How many places is he on? And then which ones are real? I know there's 3 public, but then there's several private.
You got to have private Snapchat.
Yeah, you have to have like aliases for your aliases depending upon what you're doing in the world. Anyway, oh my gosh, that's so funny. So thank you so much for your time, Robin.
Yeah,
and thank you all for tuning in and listening in to me. This was the very first time that I hosted too, so I hope I did a good job.
Excellent job.
I really appreciate everything. And so, Alan, Alan, thank you for coming in. Jonathan, thank you for coming in. And everybody else, thank you. And Louis, if there's anything else you need to discuss, please let us know. Is he still on? I'm not.
He said, when you're done, close the room.
Oh, just close the room. That's it. We have rights to close the room. Oh my gosh, awesome. Yay. Okay.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been a blast. So
same here. I had a wonderful time. All right. Bye, everybody.
See you guys on the interwebs.